Or
Come on now.
You're so stupid.
What's going on, people? Good morning, Jennifer Lacey.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fantabulous. I got a 2-mile run in this morning. How you like that?
I'm glad you're there and not here, so I don't have to smell you. So thank you.
I even took a shower. Like I'm
okay.
of it today, girl.
I like that mug. Is that a new one?
It is a new mug. You like the?
I like with the cork too. I like that.
Fancy. You know, I got it. Paloma hooked me up with the stickers. They're like 3D bumpy. They're so freaking cool. I love it. So I got the mug. I had the stickers. I bought the mug. I said, let me put these things together.
Very nice.
But yeah, so you're back home. You had a nice week of travel.
It was a lot. This was a multi-day, multi-city, which doesn't happen all the time. So right. I got to fly in, and I got to go to Clemson and hang out with Adam, and I got to hang out with some Robbins Morton folks, and we got to speak to one of the classes. Got to do the condition to satisfaction exercise, which is always my favorite. And it was really good. Conversations were great. Got to connect with Maggie and Tom, just some people that I don't get to see very often. And the following day, got to do an event with Christy and Angela for the ABC Carolinas, talking about courage over comfort. So it kind of prepped me for today.
Nice. Oh, I love it. I know. I got to hear all the behind the scenes, and it's interesting. But that's kind of what I like about our topic today is I think it's one of those that everybody is either swimming in right now or has in the past, right? And I think we're going to be able to help some. But man, look at that. We already got an early riser.
Early. Good morning, Jackie.
Jackie, did you like my April Fool's joke? I say that because she's like the relationship guru. Fancy mug. Thank you, sister. And so this is the title you made me use. You're not being ignored. You're just not saying much. Why are we talking smack?
Let's be clear. I don't make you do anything. Let's be clear. I don't make. We talk, and then we throw ideas out, and then I let you have it, and then you come up with some magical thing that draws people in and gets them very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So folks, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Like just the dynamic of nobody's listening to me, all of that. We're just going to put it to bed. Hopefully we'll ruffle some damn feathers. But more importantly, give you some actionable things to like take forward and do.
Yes.
But before we get into, man, everybody's already jumping in. We got Mr. Jim says, good morning, coming from the volleyball tournament in OKC. We got our folks coming in from,
So been there, done that. Yes.
The tournament life. Gary Freeman from YouTube. Hi, I'm not sure what that says. I can't read it. Hello, Johns. Oh my gosh. We got a bunch of people. We got G5J says, what are you doing? We're live streaming, baby. That's what we doing. All right. So before we go crazy, Jen, we know we're going to be talking about this. You're not being ignored. You're just not saying much. If you're sensitive, you probably don't want to watch this.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's do some housekeeping.
Okay. Jennifer. And if you're not willing to like change, or you're good and you're content with your life and you don't want anything more, like it's not going to spur anything in you.
Right.
Okay, so housekeeping is if you're out there, and we already have some people doing it, thank you very much. If you're out there listening and we have come across your feed, or you're out there just kind of, doing some other stuff and have us in the background, we would like for you to please add to the chat your name, where you're from, also with a blue heart. And we ask for the blue heart specifically because we have a lot of people that come back and hang out with us on Saturday mornings. We also have new people that kind of have been out there but haven't really engaged in the conversation, or it's their first time ever hearing us. And so the blue heart lets us know that you're a first timer, because we want to make sure to highlight and recognize you. It also allows our No BS tribe, who are all the people that hang out with us all the time, that, hey, we have a new member, we have a new person. And what that does is they'll connect with you, they'll follow your content, they'll engage with you. But we thank you very much. We want to make sure that we recognize you. Because again, we talk about a lot of things, and sometimes when you're a first timer, you're like, I don't know about this and stuff. And so they kind of get you engaged in the conversation. So blue heart, if you're new, or if you've been listening, but you haven't really contributed, we would love for you to add a comment. And also when you add a comment or a blue heart or anything, emoji, it will put you into the randomizer, which is a drawing that we do at the end of the show. Jesse, what do they get if they win
Yes,
the randomizer?
the randomizer. So if you get selected at the top of the hour, we'll click the button. It's a raffle type thing. If your name gets selected, you'll get a 1 month pass to Cultivation Crew and Emotional Budgie Jumpers, which is an online experience where we help you build, cultivate, and grow those super secret hidden leadership skills like communication, connecting with other human beings, giving feedback, all kinds of beautiful stuff. So anyways, if you comment, drop the emojis, whatever, and your name gets selected, you'll get free access, and we'll figure out how to get you back, like get you on the invite and all that other stuff. So here we are. Look, Jackie's coming in from Michigan. We got another blue heart. Gary Freeman coming in from YouTube land. So he's down. Let's connect. But today we're going to talk about this thing. So let's go a little deeper there, Jen. You're not being ignored. You're just not saying much. Why is that a thing? Where's that coming?
I think we've talked about some things in the past of like you fight or you work to get in the room. Like you don't get invited, or someone's not allowing you to be part of the conversation. And we're not talking about those people. We're talking about when you finally get invited in, when you do get to sit in the room, wherever you are in the room. We have experienced, specifically ourselves, that I have been in rooms where I finally got invited in, and I'm like, I got to make sure that I prove that I need to be in the room. And the way that my brain analyzed that and thought about it was, I got to make sure I say something valuable. I got to make sure I agree. I got to make sure that they know that I deserve to be in this room. When we start with that, it muddies all the other value that we bring to the room. And so that's some of the stuff that we're going to, I think, dig into today, mainly from our experiences, but also we're going to challenge you to share yours. Is once you get in the room, then you're like, well, why don't they listen to me? Why aren't they calling on me? Why are they not doing what why aren't they not telling me that was a good idea, or they're valuing the things that I'm speaking about? And a lot of it's because of the things you're speaking about and because of the things you're saying. And so We're going to challenge you when you're in there, what you're saying and what you're not saying.
Yes. And for me, it's that, right? Like, I get to coach a bunch of people, been out there in the industry for a very long time. And I have felt this before, right? Like, why aren't they listening to me? Why aren't they calling me? Like, and it was all they, right? It was everybody else's fault. And then the truth, I mean, for real, it's because I wasn't saying anything different. And I see it so often, especially with folks that just recently got promoted, recently added to a committee or whatever. What I see is this. They think making mouth noise is going to get attention and drive action. They think by saying words that they have contributed. And that's a bad formula. We'll just say that it's a bad formula. And so that's the second part of this, right? It's not that people are ignoring you. You're just not saying anything of any consequence, any insight, you're just echo. It's an echo. We don't need echoes in the room. We need people to come and play. And I've been guilty of it, of, groups and team meetings that I'm facilitating where I know there's somebody in there that they're going to parrot. I'm not going to call on them. I'm not going to ask them for their insight because they never share any insight. They're present and in the room, but they don't contribute. Is that harsh? Yeah. But let's talk about it. Let's get what your actual thoughts are, unfiltered, etc. So I guess we should start with the first question. Huh?
I think so. I think it's a good one to get people thinking.
Yes.
If you're out there and you haven't chimed in, let us know you're there, where you're at, where you're from. Good morning, all the things.
Yeah. So here's the question, folks, is when you hold back in a room, in a meeting, in a group, like you don't have to make it too complicated, but when you hold back, what is driving that decision? Why do you hold back from sharing your thought your observation, your insight. When you hold back, why? What is driving that? And so, Jen, I want to make sure people know that, like, we were there too.
We were absolutely there. Are you kidding?
And so, can you think back to a time when, like, yeah, you were in the room and you had something to say, but you didn't, and why that was?
What things when I didn't say something. So I think I've been in rooms, and I absolutely, it was when I didn't feel I was credible enough to add to the conversation.
Oh, okay.
So I felt like I work in construction, and that's the playground that I run around in. And for the longest time, when I got invited in, I still hadn't figured out why I got invited in. So when I was in the room, I was just like excited to be in the room, but like I was invited in for a reason, and I had not owned it, acknowledged it, asked, hey, why was I a part? Why did you bring me into this room? And because of that, I had all the thoughts going on in my head, all the reasons of, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. They really only want me to do this. Like I was analyzing it all only in my head. And what I came up with is like, I don't bring the value, but what I can do is I can listen, and maybe I can share it. Maybe I can highlight something. And so that was literally that's what I thought I was in the room for, because I didn't get any clarification. I didn't ask anybody. And for the longest time, that's the space I lived in. I lived in that was the reason I was coming in, to take notes, to capture, to take pictures, like all the things. And that was not the reason that they brought me in the room. So some of the rooms, that's just what my role was, because that's what I took on. Instead of when I started starting challenging myself on, okay, like what are the things I'm doing outside of this room? What are the things that I can contribute? And I have to say it. And I think that was scary, and it was uncomfortable, because what if I'm wrong? So there's a lot of what ifs. I'm saying what ifs a lot intentionally. Is we live in our heads, Jesse. We know that we live in our heads most of the time. And it's scary to get some of that stuff outside of our heads, because we're either going to be proven right or we're going to be proven wrong. And
so what?
Right. And so because of that, we're like, and then we prolong the value we can contribute, because we are analyzing what's the why? Why are we here? And I think when I started paying attention, doing a lot more self-reflecting, talking with some crazy people that said, hey, this is what you do. When I started sharing things and contributing and making comments and mainly asking questions. So if you're in a place where you're in a room and you're not adding your value, or you're not contributing.
Yes.
The easiest entry point for you to start letting people see you and know you is learn how to ask good questions.
Yeah. I mean, and yes, thank you, Jen, because that's a nice gateway, right? Even a really silly, embarrassing question, right? There's times where I remember I was in a meeting. I think I was a foreman at the time. And one of the project managers, we're talking about issues, and he's like, yeah, but that's tertiary. I remember, because that was like a weird word. And I looked at everybody else like, what the hell does that mean? That was the question I asked. Like, what is that? Like, I've never heard that word before. It sounds cool. What does that mean? And what was interesting was the response I got, right? Like the guy's like, you know what? I think I know what it means. I don't know what it means either. Thank you for asking the question, right? And so the reason I share that example is for some folks, especially when you just like got promoted or you're in a new team, a new committee, whatever, there's some dynamics that you really don't understand. But so asking like that really innocent question is a nice way to kind of get a sense of like, how is this going to be received? Like in my head, and that's luckily I don't have that, right? I could have said, well, I don't want to sound dumb. What if I get kicked out? What if they never invite me back? Da, 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 da. Well, you know what? There's one way to find out. Ask the damn question.
Mhm.
And if they would have been crappy about it, then I know, you know what? Maybe this isn't the type of room I want to be in,
Right.
because of the way they respond to just a genuine, authentic question. Now, what I like about what you said, Jen, and we got some good comments. We're going to go to that here shortly. But what I like about what you said, and I think this is the most common thing, that what you said was you were in the room, but you weren't sure you had the credibility. And so that's kind of like, I'm in the room, I really show I'm not like all these fancy people, whatever that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, because I felt that too. But the fact that you're in the room is evidence that you have the credibility.
Yes.
Right. And so for folks out there that are holding back and they're the new group, new committee, whatever it is, like, I know it's not easy. It doesn't feel that way, but for real, it's what I tell myself. Like, well, I'm here because I have something to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to prove, like, all the proving of my credibility is what got me invited to the call, to the meeting, to the committee, to whatever the hell it is. And so I know a lot of people, like, we just get stuck there thinking, well, I got to prove myself. I really got to figure out, like, you don't, like, for real, give yourself a pass. You're in the freaking room. It's time to play, baby. Like, come and play, or don't come to the room. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Well, it does. I want to ask you a question, because I think hopefully people that are listening can resonate with this. When you're in a room and there's someone in the room that all they're doing is agreeing with the highest ranking person in the room, how do you take that? Is that helping you value them more, give them more credibility, realize the reason they're in the room? Does that help you?
Does it help me? No, it irritates me.
Because why, Jesse? Why does that irritate you?
Because it's not adding, like, this isn't a suck fest, like, we're not here to freaking, oh, I love you, you're so hard. Like, if you could do that, I don't need to be here to watch. I don't want to watch that, right? Like, if you want to suck up and score, like, go do that. First of all, if we're having, I mean, you already know I have issues with meetings, but if we're in a meeting, like, we better be making some decisions. We better be driving some action. Like, if it's just a suck fest of, let me tell the boss I love the boss, or the person with the most authority in the room, what value does that bring? Like, what impact does that have? It has nothing, and it's a waste of my time. I could be doing other things. I understand that it's natural behavior, right? Like, I understand why it happens, but it's just a waste of an opportunity, really. But for me,
can you bring the question back up?
Yes. Question is this: when you hold back in a room, what is usually driving that decision?
I want to throw another angle on this question.
Okay.
I want to throw the angle that sometimes it's also intentional.
What do you mean?
So I'm saying that right now we're challenging you on when you're in a room and you're quiet and you're scared or you're uncomfortable to share. That's one angle of why, like, we're trying to lean into that to help you get more confident and feel and understand your value. The other side of that, that's kind of the next level of the things that you need to think about when you're in rooms. If you don't have anything to contribute, or you're not getting an opportunity to contribute, like, that's okay too sometimes. And I want to talk about that, because sometimes we're fighting so hard to be able to get our voice to say something to contribute, that also can have a negative effect, depending on the dynamic of the room. And sometimes not saying things and being quiet and listening has power.
Yes. So I agree. And I just don't want to mix people up, right? Because it's easy to hide. Like, staying quiet is comfortable, right? And being polite and nice is comfortable, keeps you safe. And so in terms of, like, this conversation, you're not being ignored. You're just not saying much. Like, share your insights, share your contributions, whatever. that doesn't mean just go make noise. And so
Yes.
if all you're doing is going and agreeing and nodding and da 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 da, like you might as well keep your damn mouth shut. There's value, like I know you practice this, and I know I do. Like if I'm in a meeting, and this has happened to me with big VP regional vice presidents meeting, and I said like 2 things, and this was like a day and a half retreat type thing. And my boss, or one of my bosses, were like, "Hey man, like if you're gonna be coming to these meetings, you need to contribute, or you won't be coming back to the meetings. Like you won't get invited back." And like, "Oh, okay, understand." And he's like, "You're not worried about that?" And I'm like, "Not really." He goes, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, here's the thing, is everybody in there was making noise. Everybody was talking. They were saying the same thing 10 different ways. I didn't have any value to add. And clearly they were clamoring for airtime. So I was just going to let them have it." He said, "I said 2 things." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you remember what I said?" He said, "Yeah, you said this and you said this." I said, "Okay. Person A, person B, person C, what did they say that you remember?" He's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah, man." Like, so don't get it twisted, people. This isn't about making noise. This is about adding value and contributing.
Yes.
So if all you're doing is agreeing and nodding head and, having the back slap fest, like waste of time. I'm not going to, if you see me quiet, it's because of that, because people are just echoing each other.
Okay, go to the comments.
Man, we got some really good comments. Oh, where did I go? I lost them. Oh, here we go. All right. So we got Mr. Abdul Razak coming in from Bangladesh. What's up, my brother? And then we have Miss Lisa. Welcome back, Lisa. How are you? And then, of course, this guy.
I do that. I do know him.
I'm going to be seeing you in a couple weeks, my man. So Miss Jackie says, "I have a hard time holding back. When I do it, it's usually because I don't trust them. But back in the day, I was so worried I would sound dumb, especially in a room full of me." Right. And so I get like, yeah, yes, I understand that. And guess what? How many times have you heard the people speak up and you're like, yeah, they sound dumb. It's okay to sound dumb. It's not the end of the world. I'll go even further. Like, just get the reps in, man. Like, you may not say it perfectly, you may not communicate as clearly as you want, but getting the reps in of voicing your thought when you're adding to the conversation, good thing. Waiting till you can say it perfectly, you got to get the reps in.
Yeah. Vulnerability is a strength. You just have to be able, like being vulnerable is a strength because everyone's scared of it. So if you can master it and figure out how to still be there, be a little humble, be a little like, oh, I'm not sure, and still do it, everyone else is looking going, damn, I'm not sure I would have been able to do that. So again, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it.
Yeah. And then we got Gabe Ford.
Okay, she's a new connection for me. I met her at the Carolinas event in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yes. So Gabe, thank you so much for connecting and showing up today.
Yeah. Welcome to the tribe, Miss Gabe. And then my brother, Mr. Felipe Cofino, says, "What I learned from someone was to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It helps you go into with confidence." Like, yeah, it is gonna be uncomfortable. You just got to embrace that, or not, right? Like, I mean, here's the thing. We have a question about that later. It's like, you don't have to.
Nope.
But if you don't, you're gonna keep.
Don't complain about it outside of the room if you're not willing to do anything in the room.
And so, let's put a cap on this, right? When you hold back in a room, what's making that? Really think about this, right? Really, really evaluate it. Get clear with yourself of why you're holding back. It's most of it is natural. But I think the one bullet that people can take and put in their ammo bag is, if you're in the room, your credibility got you there. You don't need to earn credibility in the room. That's what got you in. It's time to contribute. And so reconcile that. And I think it'll set you up to really, have some impact. Yes. Which takes us to, you've touched on this. Yes. You open the door.
2.
Yes. Are you adding value in conversations or just echoing what has already been said? I wonder, Jen, how many people do you know that would say, oh yeah, no, all I do is echo?
Nobody nobody owns that. Right. And again, a lot of times it's something that if you can't answer this question, you may be the echoer.
Ooh.
I'm just like, again, if you're just like, oh no, I don't really see that in rooms. You could be the person that is just regurgitating what other people are saying. Or you're animating it. Like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like but you're not like that's all you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna push this out there. It could hurt things. Because if you're doing it just for credibility, for validation, for those things, but it's not a real good idea, or it's not something that's going to help impact change, or it's not going to improve something, then you're slowing down the process by trying to get your voice out there, or to tell somebody it's a good idea, because that's one more step it's going to take to undo something, or to change something, or to shift something.
Yeah, I'll go further. If you're like echoing, you're part of the problem. Like straight up, you're part of the freaking problem. Now I also want to be super clear is when you've been there, Jen, in rooms where it's just bobbleheads, right? Everybody's agreeing. Yes. Yeah. Oh, great idea. Yeah. I love that. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I don't know. Like there is risk. And
absolutely.
Right. Felipe says fear is a big factor. Yes, because there is risk to point at the problem, to not just get lost in the sauce of, yay, everything's great and being polite and all that crap. Don't get me wrong. Like be polite, right? Be professional, but you got to speak up and I'll go even further. Again, there's massive risk. But an observation, I wonder, you've probably seen this. I wonder, folks out there in the Omniverse, if you've seen this. I know that as I got promoted in my career, I had fewer peers to kind of talk to and get feedback and bounce ideas, right? When I was in Starter, there was a lot of people. And then foreman, there were fewer foremen, and then superintendent, there were fewer superintendents. And then we were competitive. So like, I really didn't want them to know that I had a problem, because they could like exploit that. And then, and so anyways, point being is that people move up in an organization, they have fewer peers to get real feedback. And then, so there's a natural power dynamic in that, I have more official authority. And if I don't like what you say, I could use that against you, right? I could punish you for that or whatever. So the fear is real. I totally get it. Felipe gives us a quote here. He says, I was trying to remember, it's a quote from Zig Ziglar about fears. You can do one of two things: fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise, right? And so there is risk in saying, there's a freaking problem. Why aren't y'all talking about it? And I'll give you an example. This was I think not the first time, but kind of the big one I did in we'll say corporate setting. A long time ago, I was working for TD Industries, employee-owned company, and the CEO would have like roundtables every quarter, go to the different business units. And I was with the company about within not even a whole year. And there were problems in our business unit, like bad problems. And all the foremen, like the senior foreman, super people that have been there a long time, like before, like, hey man, we got to tell them, and this isn't right, and this is wrong, and da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Like, I see all the same thing too. Well, then the night before, they're like, hey, Jess, like, will you speak up? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say my stuff. And I just thought like, okay, whatever. Freaking conspiracy theory, right? And then we get in the room and a bunch of us are there. It wasn't everybody, but there were a few people that were like, yeah, we got to. And the CEO says, all right, like, I need to know like the real, what's broken? What do we need to fix? one at a time. And he had, okay, what are your thoughts? And those guys that have, you know, they, geez, oh, this is a great place to work. I love the opportunities here. I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh, these fools, oh, okay. I see you. Everybody, one at a time, boom, boom, boom. I was like the 8th or 9th person. And he said, all right, like, well, I said, man, I ain't been here very long, but we got some problems. These are the problems that I see. And then they were like, yeah, but tell them what we said. I'm like, you had your chance, freaking jellyfish. And I articulated, like, these are the like systemic problems that we have. I came here because I was sold on this idea of servant leadership and and I got here and this is what I'm experiencing. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but this is what's happening here. And like, I'm not sure I'm gonna be here very long because of the way it is. I didn't get, like, the CEO didn't reprimand me, but it got out of what I said, and the people that were the problem, you know, they did some stuff to make my life a little more difficult, but like, whatever, man, I'm gonna go find another job somewhere else. My point in all that is I could have sat there, right, and just echoed whatever. It's a great place to work. I love it. The benefits are amazing. Like, no, I'm not going to echo that. I'm going to, there was risk. Was I worried about getting fired? Absolutely. Did I know that the local leadership would retaliate? Absolutely. And so I had to make a decision. And I did. And you know, now here's the other part. Did it get fixed? Yes. You want to guess how long it took, Jen? It was over a year before it was totally fixed. And so it took a long time. And that's the other thing I want to like put out there to people. They get frustrated, right? Like, they're not listening to me. They ignore me. It's like, man, some of this change that we know needs to happen, or the issues within an organization, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, it just, even if you just fire the person that's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't fix everything automatically. And so there's a longer time horizon that we need to acclimate to when we speak up and share our insight and give our perspective. And if we don't, if all we're doing is echoing what everybody else is saying in the room, guess what? That time horizon is even longer. What do you think, Jen?
Well, yeah, a couple things. So number one, I want to make a comment. There's some people that I saw a comment that Gabe made referencing Steve Martin, but I haven't seen a Steve Martin comment. There may be some jankiness going on with comments. You can always go over to YouTube and go to No BS with Jen and Jess if your comments aren't coming through. So I just want to make that statement. The other is based on what you said, change takes time. So let's just be clear. So don't like think nothing's happening if where you want to be isn't done, but like look for the small actions, look for the small things that are moving you in a different direction. So I just want, like, we already know, like, change takes time. My question to you, not just you, the audience as well, is what's the worst that could happen? So, and I'm gonna give you preface it with, just say, are you busy?
Yeah, I got plenty of shit to do.
Okay, and I'm gonna challenge the group out there. Are you busy? Are you got a lot going on? You're trying to figure out who's doing this. Like, I don't know if I've run into anybody, and I talk to a lot of people that aren't busy. So my filter may not be yours, but it's mine, is what's the worst that could happen? I stop getting invited to this meeting. Mm-hmm. And if I say something out, I say something that no one else wants to say, and they're like, oh, we're not sure we want that conversation. Like, again, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen, you could lose your job. Okay. But if you're in the meeting, you probably have some value. So you're probably not going to lose your job. But like, worst going to happen is they're going to be like, we don't need that person in this meeting anymore. Take it off my calendar. I'm good with that. That's one more thing that I don't have to worry about. So now I can go and actually do other things. Like, if you need to just reframe, like, again, not trying to get you fired, not trying to get you reprimanded, but sometimes the fear of, like, I worked so hard to get here. I worked so hard to be able to be in the room to have a voice. You still don't have one if you're not using it.
Right. You might as well not be in the damn room.
Yes.
And if sharing your thought and perspective gets you kicked out of the room, awesome. You got plenty of other stuff to do. I got you. I agree 100%. And so I want to tie it back. So it's 8:35, folks. So remind you, lurkers out there, if you got a question, an opinion, an objection, drop it in the comments, because that will get you into the randomizer, which will get you a monthly pass to cultivate some skills with some freaking ballers. How about that? Now, the first question we've gone over so far is, when you hold back in a room, what's driving that decision? And so overarching idea here is, if you feel like you're being ignored, maybe you're not contributing enough. Stop holding back. Second question was, are you adding value in conversations or just echoing what's already been said? So if you're just echoing, saying the same thing with different words is not adding value. Like it's not. You're saying the same crap. You haven't added value. If that's your normal go-to, and maybe you don't do it on purpose, right? Because I've been there, I've done it, and I didn't know, like it wasn't intentional. It's just like I agreed with them. And I was like, oh, but there's this other little bitty nuance that we need to add. And I would reframe it. And guess what? Nobody was taking that. Why? Because I wasn't contributing anything significant, because I was just echoing. So if you feel like you're getting ignored, do an inventory. Am I echoing or am I adding value? Are my comments additive or not? And then start getting a little courageous and point out the things that you see. And here's another little framework that has helped me, is what's obvious to me is not obvious to everybody.
Because our brains are weird.
Because
our brains are weird.
Because it's easy to say, like, yeah, I know. Like they know this. They have to know. They see this. They got to be able, like, they're right. I'm gonna tell you right now, they don't, man. But there's one way to find out, is by saying it. What do you think, Jen?
No, I completely agree, and it goes back to that last question. If you'll pull the last question up, Jesse, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
As we're wrapping it up, is that value word? Like, okay, who defines the value? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get in this whole, is this going to contribute? Is it going to not contribute? Like, we get so wound up in that. And we're not there yet, but I think another conversation is that value versus validation. And like, when I'm in the room, I need to prove that I need to stay here. So I need to be very specific and very, like, how do I articulate the things that I need to say that validate my purpose? And validate. And again, that comes from other people in the room. If that's why you're in the room, you can do that, and you may stay in the room. If the goal is to be in the room,
yes,
leave it at that. If the goal is to be in the room, then all the things we're talking about today will work. Will work for you if that's your goal.
Right.
If your goal is beyond what's happening in that room, because usually change doesn't happen in the room. I'm just going to say,
right.
Usually impact doesn't happen in the room. Decisions happen in the room. Discussions happen in the room. Something that can trigger something bigger can happen in the room, but that doesn't usually happen in the room. So if the goal is just to get in the room, this is probably not your conversation. Yeah,
like if you just want to be the most popular freaking bobblehead, log off right now. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about how to have impact. We'll just say that. How to have impact, do these things that we're talking about. If you just want to be popular, this is the wrong freaking conversation to be listening to. All right. So Felipe made the jump. He's over on YouTube. He says, sharing your unique perspective and insights can help the team think about it from a different perspective that they did 100%. And that's why you're in the room, is because you have a different set of perspective, different set of insights. So share them. Oh, here we go. He's bringing it. He says also, ask for feedback from trusted colleagues on how your delivery was in the room. Was it clear, too stern, not Oh yeah. This is like gangsta level. Something I've done is I identify a spotter. what that means is, hey, like, I'm going to be facilitating the meeting or whatever. I've gotten feedback that, I have ugly face or whatever it is, or that I'm, aggressive. I need you to pay attention to me. And whenever I do the thing that I'm trying to work on, can you please like make a note of what happened before? And then after the meeting, I need you to tell me like, what was it so that I could fix it? So that is a gangster level, but it absolutely does take practice.
I like the idea, and Gabe is one of them, one that came in earlier and was listening. Hopefully, Gabe, you're still out there. If your comments aren't coming through, jump to YouTube. No BS with Jen and Jess. But what I've realized is when I'm in rooms, and I do this more often now, just because I think the reinforcement of I'm saying very uncomfortable things to people that haven't been there or haven't experienced it, or are a little bit scared. When I am speaking and saying things and challenging things about my experience and things that people can do to grow and lead, and then I get done with the conversation and they come up and they go, "Thank you for saying that."
Yes.
Because it's like we get in this fear, like, oh, but like there's never been a time that they're like, "Oh, what were you thinking?" Like I've never gotten that ever. It's
right.
Always like, "Oh, thank you for saying that out loud," because then other people were commenting, and it was just like it usually empowers the people around you to go, "Oh, it's okay for me to do that."
Yes.
I hate to say that, but sometimes you got to be the first one.
You got to be like, don't be scared to be the first one. Now, again, not the first one to make mouth noise. That's easy. The first one to challenge or add a specific new value point. Felipe is bringing it. Respectfully challenging ideas might be what the team needs. I always default to, this is what the hell they need, or this is why the hell I'm here. Here's what, and I'm super simple. I've been in multiple, we'll say the last 2 years, and they're like, "Jesse, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Why is there only one woman in the room?" Like, that's what I think. And they're like, "Oh shit." Like, and it was, that's a super easy thing. Let me look how many people are in here. Or, okay, we're doing this thing for the field. Why don't we have anybody from the field in here? Right? It's not a judge. I'm really like, oh my God, like it's brilliant. It's not brilliant. It's just some stupid thing that I noticed. It can be that simple. But again, the reason you're in the room is to ask the question and share your insight. If you're not asking the questions, the honest questions, and you're not sharing your specific insight, go do something else. Like, that's why you're being ignored, is because you're a bobblehead and you're a parrot. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I see it, Jen. Am I going to get sent to HR or Felipe?
We talked about it earlier and you've reinforced it. Sometimes, like, if you're a little bit like, ask a question. Like, if you're asking a question, they get to choose how to answer it.
Yep.
Their answers can dictate what's next.
100%. 100%. All right. You ready for the third question, Jen?
Yes.
All right. I think LinkedIn is being funky, because usually we have a lot.
Usually you're on the side and you're able to kind of like see some things. So again, I think there's some stuff going on just based on some comments and stuff. So
yeah, that's okay. So question number 3.
Somebody just shared it. Thank you, Steve Martin. He just shared the
okay, that's freaking awesome. Steve Martin says, if you're
you add the link to the YouTube link just in the chat. I feel like some people but thank you so much. We're not ignoring you. Like, I saw the comment, I'm like, I think there's people out there.
That was awesome, Steve. Thank you, bro. No, we're not ignoring you. And yes, heads up. Apparently the comments from LinkedIn aren't coming through. So that's just perfect. All right. Focus. Question is, what hard truth have you avoided that could actually move something forward? So Jen, tell us, like, how should we think about this question, Jen? Can you frame it?
I think the way is, and we talked about this, is, and I thank you for throwing it at me, but I just did a talk about courage over comfort. And it really leans into, like, everyone and most people that are in our space live in this, like these big things I want to do, or this is my value, or this is what I want to accomplish, or here's the career path, all the things, like we think about those things. And so I think for this question specifically, the challenge is like, what are you doing? What little steps are you doing to move towards it? And so when you're thinking about that, then it becomes, and what are you avoiding that can actually help propel you in that direction? And it goes back to a lot of the stuff Felipe was saying about fear and the fear of like, okay, but what if? I'm just going to challenge you to not use what if. Like, yes, all the things, what if, like there's so many things that could go wrong, and that will be your comfort, your little comfort place to be able to keep you from doing something. And it could also go right.
I'm going to go on the same vein, different thought, right? Like, yes, what if, but we stop at what could go wrong. Mm-hmm. We need continue with the what if, what could go right? Yeah. Like there's a list, and we stop here because, like you said, comfort over courage. I think I'm going to say the majority of people will pick comfort.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like, why? Because it's comfortable, right? There's less risk there. You know what that is. And that if that's your game, do it, but don't be complaining. What if, run it through. What's the worst case scenario? Right. Like, and in the workplace, now I'm also going to be very clear. I'm a single man. I've been single forever. I don't have any pets, plants, or people in my life. So if I get fired, whatever, right? Like I can live on refried beans and bologna. Like I know how to make it happen. So the worst thing that can happen is that I get fired, right? Now, if I get fired or demoted or removed from a team for bringing something valid that is true and needs to be addressed, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Because then guess what? That gives me the opportunity, or maybe forces me to go find a team that I can actually contribute to, that want to do something meaningful and impactful. That's my framing. Like, I have to say this, because if I don't know where these people play, where their mind is at. And when I do say it, I'll know real quick, are they down or not? And if they ain't, guess what? I've got some decisions to make. And if they are, hell yeah, let's go do something. Is that too nonchalant?
It's not, Jesse, because I do have pets, people, and plans. And early on, when you and I were doing a lot of this type of stuff, my brain was like compartmentalizing things. Like, okay, I do have this, but I also know this is valuable and this is important and it matters to me. And so you got to kind of live through doing things, being intentional, but also like making sure I was not hindering and hurting the things that was helping me pay my bills and helping me be able to take care of those three things. And what I learned, and it happened organically. It was not intentional. So please know this was not the master plan. At least it wasn't mine. It may have been Jesse's. But they started to integrate and intermingle. And the places that I was being intentional and not leaning into it, they were like, hey, like, why are you not talking about this over here? Hey, we support you. Hey, so again, sometimes it's in our head. And I want to go back to that. It's in our head. We are doing it because in our minds, like, this could cause some conflict. This could cause some waves, things like that. And also it could elevate you. It could give you a different platform. It could also help you on your career path and what you're trying to do, because like it could help, it could be pulled into an area that no one is leaning into. So like, the challenge is yes, all the things. And yes, Jesse could just like not show up and no one's going to die, I don't think. But the point is, and also you could have that job that you're a little bit worried. And that's a lot of the questions I get, Jesse, is like, okay, but like, how do you filter what you're sharing because you work for a bigger company? And I get that question a lot. on
Yep.
what do you get, who do you run it by, or who gets to look at it, or how do you pick and choose
Yeah.
the things you share? You're accountable to you. Like that's
Yes.
it. Like in your clients and
Yes.
things like that. But like I have a lot, and I've told people, and I don't know if they like the answer or not. I kind of run it through three things. Is it kind? So am I being kind? Is it necessary? Do I feel there's a need for it? And is it honest?
Mm-hmm.
And like that is my filter.
Yeah.
And it's the same filter for everything I post. So if it can't say yes to all those things, if it's not necessary, if it's important to me, but like the world doesn't need to know about it, or it's not a big deal, like then it doesn't need to be out there. If it's not honest, if it's not real, and I'm just kind of like fabricating something, then it doesn't need to be out there. And if it's not kind to the human beings, if it's not kind to people, then it doesn't need to be out there. Like that's literally my filter. And they're like, well, I understand. But that is literally the only thing that I've used to post stuff. And no one's mad. No one's angry. No one's telling me something separate that I can't do.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. So one, when people are asked, because I get the same types of questions, but people know like, you're freaking crazy. I'm like, yeah, like you said, I have nobody to be accountable to. What are you going to do? Call my mom? Like, go ahead. But I think what a lot of folks feel, and I've been there, is how can I say what I want to say in such a way that it exposes me to zero risk?
I mean, good luck with that. I haven't figured that one out yet.
No, we've talked about it. Be a freaking bobblehead and just echo what other people say. Like, there's gonna be risk, and I'll go even further. The more risk, the more impactful that thing can be, right? The value is on the other side of risk. The impact is on the other side of risk.
Right.
You got to take the risk, and you can build your tolerance there or whatever. But when I hear like, how do you, it's like, man, freaking, there's one way to find out. And just like you said, all of that, what if, it's between your ears. That's you saying, like, you don't know for sure. Mm-hmm. Now this has happened on our live streams where somebody made a comment. It was a good positive contribution to the conversation, and their boss freaked out and called them and like, it's not because the person said something unprofessional or rude or, derogatory at all. That's because their boss is a freaking insecure freak. It's again, the risk, yes, you might get some attention for it. Mm-hmm. The value in getting the attention for it is now I know who I'm playing with. Mm-hmm. Now I know what game they're playing, and I have that intel that I can leverage to do towards whatever, objective I'm working towards. So that's one thing. There's going to be risk, accept it or not. If you choose not to accept the risk, you are choosing to be ignored. One more time. If you choose not to take the risk, you are choosing to continue to be ignored and overlooked. That's what it is. Now,
if it doesn't bother you, then keep doing what you're doing.
And if you're okay with that, freaking awesome. Keep doing that. Now, you mentioned like your framework was, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Right? Something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty, it's not my filter for sure. But it's a very meaningful, right? Like practical, human, thoughtful filter. And even though you play by those rules, have you not gotten like shitty comments and rolled eyes? And
yes, absolutely. I've gotten people, whether we call them trolls, I think, right? Where they come in and they challenge like, oh yeah, this, well, you don't know this and you haven't experienced. Absolutely. I have. Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So
I love those comments too. I love them because someone's poking, someone's stirring some stuff up, someone's pulling a string because something in them, they saw something and they're like, this is where I'm going to be able to prove that I'm right and someone else is wrong.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's all over the place, all the time, online and in person, that there's someone that you're going to engage with in a room that needs to prove their worth and that they are right and you are wrong.
Uh-huh.
Like that's going to happen everywhere. Doesn't matter if you don't voice it. then they're just going to get to be right all the time. I'm just going to say.
Yes. And don't complain.
Yeah.
But like for me, everything we're saying is, and don't complain,
Mhm.
and don't complain. Like if you're going to choose to continue, if you're going to continue choosing comfort over courage, don't complain.
Mhm.
That is the outcome. You're going to be ignored. You're not going to be heard. Nobody's going to take your ideas seriously. Nobody's going to take you seriously because you're playing the comfort game. Don't complain. So I have a little, when we were going through these questions, Jen, before, it reminded me back in the day that it was the first job that I was a foreman on, very first time. And there's some bullshit that happened with my superintendent. Like it was totally against the thing. It was kind of one of the things I brought up in that roundtable meeting. Anyways, but before that roundtable meeting, this thing happened where my superintendent did some things that was not okay to my crew, or we'll say that he said some things that pissed off my crew, that was not in alignment with what the company code, with all the posters on the wall and all that bullshit. And we were having a meeting and the CEO was going to be there. Not the CEO at this time. He was like the regional leader or whatever. And I said, I'm going to have a conversation with him to let him know this problem exists. Okay, right? Because servant leadership and all this thing. So we go to the meeting. He's there. He comes up to me and says, hey, how's it going? I heard you're running this job. And He's like, is there anything I can help you with? What do you think I did, Jen? Huh? Lost you. Okay.
Did you tell him? Did you tell him what was wrong?
I did not.
Why?
I choked. Like I was like driving from Marion, Texas to the office, which was like a 45-minute drive, running it through my head, what I'm going to say. And then the perfect opportunity. It's not like I had to go in, or he came to talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't say anything. I was like, it's, it's going, making another day, another dollar, bullshit. And it bugged the hell out of me every single day because I chickened out. Right. And so it didn't change. It continued being that way until I finally did. Right. Then I eventually said something. And so in terms of like the hard truth, that I didn't communicate that. And I had the perfect opportunity and nothing changed. And for me, it just ate at me and ate at me and ate at me. I got more resentful. And every time the superintendent did something stupid, is like, well, okay, Jess, like you, so what? You're not going to do anything about it anyways. And so this is how it kind of works in Jesse land. I can choose comfort all day, but I know for me, comfort, there's a lot of regret in comfort. There's a lot of resentment for me in choosing comfort over courage. And I've discovered the more I speak out, the more impact I have. So I don't know.
I love that story. And my question back to you is, why do you think, and this is, again, you get to kind of be the person looking at the world right now. Why do you think people make that decision? Why do you think people they choose the easy answer versus the thing that is a little more uncomfortable outside what is perfect? Why do you think that?
I mean, I think it's probably messy, but I don't know like the proportions, but I think part of it is wanting to be polite and not seem like a narc. Because I remember that was like, I don't want to be a tattletale, but this is a freaking problem. So I didn't want to be a narc. I didn't want to be inappropriate. I didn't know what the response would be. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, man, if maybe they're boys, I don't know if they're boys. And what if he decides to fire me or whatever, like, I didn't know what the negative consequences were. And so like fear of what could this mean? Like for real, I'm not worried about my career at this point. Is like, if I get fired, I got bills to pay. This was back when I had bills and like, I didn't even think I had a wife at the time. Like I had responsibilities. I had things dependent on me, and taking that action put that at risk in my head. Right. Mm-hmm. Like it was the fear of losing the stability that I had, colored in with, you know, I don't want to be ugly, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be a narc, I don't want to be a squealer, I don't want to be a crybaby. Like, it was all this image identity stuff mixed up with some real concern about self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. So I think, and what I heard, what I just heard you say is sometimes the fear of losing the stability is bigger than what's wrong.
I would say not sometimes, the majority of the time.
Okay. And that's what keeps people. So and thank you. That's a perfect answer. So my challenge for those of you, part of this is, hey, you need to bring value to the room. A lot of this conversation also is, we hang out with some pretty big people out there doing some big things that are facilitating these conversations, that are in the room, and that are the person that could pull this information out of people, that could challenge people to say the things that they're probably uncomfortable to say.
Yep.
So again, yes, speak up, yes, say the tough things, but also, we also know y'all, some of you are in these rooms and you're allowing it just to be the attaboys and the yeah, I agree, and the bobbleheads, and well, if they're not going to say it, like, you're allowing that.
Yes.
And so also, it's on you to help create the environment that people will surface some of those things. So just want to put it out there.
Yeah, totally agree. There's some folks that have the influence and the authority that are allowing the water skiing. And blaming it on them, like, no, fool, it's you.
You didn't say anything. Well, you didn't say anything. And again, when you when you can level up, when your next level gangsta like baller is when it's not on them. And again, we're not there yet. But I mean, we're challenging people to speak up, but we also challenge people in a room. Are you creating the environment to where it's safe to do that? So anyway.
Agreed. All right, so I'm going to bring up Mr. Steve, Chief Marketeer's comment, and then we're going to do the randomizer.
Okay, sounds good.
And I love Steve's comment. It's gives it a nice frame, right? Learning the game that's being played is just the first step. How do you learn that? You put your thought, your observation, your insight out there. Finding your niche in the room that consistently brings value is the game changer. And 100% agree. Like, what is your niche? Your freaking insight and perspective, your experience, the credibility that got you in the room is your niche. Bobbleheading and agreeing with everybody else and echoing the crap, that is not the niche. The niche is what you see, what you observe, the questions that you have, is how you carve out that space and contribute value to the conversation and to the organization, team, initiative, objective, down and into the future. What do you think, Jan?
Well, absolutely. It's your strength. It's your superpower. It's your value. If it's why you're in the room. And again, once you get past that, understanding the game, that's yes. But if you can lean into that and then help, when you can start guiding it, it's a game changer. It is. It changes not only your trajectory and what you have going on, but everyone in the room goes, "Oh, what is happening here?" And you are the one guiding that ship. So
yes, and you'll never know it if you don't freaking speak up. All right, it's time for the randomizer.
Sounds good. So again, if you made a comment today, you are in the randomizer. If you get picked, Jesse will email you and you get free pass to come and sit and hang out with us and learn some leadership skills and get to hang out with some really cool people.
100%. Here we go. Randomizer. There's a bunch of people in this. Mr. Jim Victorious. Man, he's at the tournament. And he won the randomizer. All right, Mr.
Yes, and he's been with us for since day one.
Yup. Oh man, that's awesome. All right, my friend. Well, I'll be hitting you up, and I owe some other people an email. We'll get it out. All right, Jen. Are we doing that after party thing? What's that all about?
We do have one that is scheduled. Yes.
All right. Well, I need to put the link out there. So would you mind telling the people what about the after party, so that I can do the linking and all that other stuff.
Yes, I will. Look at James. Uh-oh.
You remember me.
Oh, no. Yes. So we do this conversation and you get to listen to a lot of Jesse and I talking and our experience and our body of work and our trials and tribulations and all the reasons why we feel this topic is important. And we want to hear from you, not just your comments, but actually you getting to talk and share. And I know it's been a little janky this morning with the LinkedIn and the comments. So this is a great opportunity. If you were chiming in and saying things, but we didn't get to pull it on the screen, it's because we didn't see it. And so if you click on the after party link at 9:20 or 10:20, wherever you are, 20 after, it actually will pull you into a after party meeting. You don't have to be on video. You can just voice, but we literally get to ask questions and get to hear from you. And then and you and whoever else is there, we get to have a really cool conversation based on the topic today. But Jesse and I try not to do most of the talking in that conversation. We kind of want to listen to you and hear about your experiences. Some people will give us challenges. They'll tell us some struggles that they're having. And then the group gets to kind of talk through, oh, what about this? What about this? So it's a really cool environment. No pressure. Again, you don't have to be on video and you can listen and then chime in when something hits you. But we've just had some really cool conversations that usually drives the next live stream topic. So there's that, which Jesse's put the link in there. I do want to say, Jesse, and we'll say it again before we wrap, you and I have a pretty big event in 2 weeks. So,
oh yeah.
Our normal 8 a.m. Central, which is like, we have it, I think we've only canceled one time in like 4 or 5 years, but we both are at an event that we're probably going to have to make some adjustments to the live stream in 2 weeks. We're not going away. We just will, and we'll make sure that we share that so that everyone can know what the plan is. But just so you know, it will be adjusted.
Yes, we will not be on our regular scheduled time because we're going to be in Florida doing some Connect stuff. So, keep an eye out for some 80s pictures and stuff. But yes. All right. So the links are out there, folks. Just like Jen said, you want to just jump on the after party so we could talk some more. Look, we got Miss Linda. Miss Linda says, thank you for sharing. Of course. Welcome, Linda. Thank you. Welcome back. All right, Jen, you got any closing thoughts for this conversation for the tribe out there?
I mean, to me, my closing thought is there's something that you're not saying. There's something that you're holding on to. There's something that you're like, you're thinking about that could be that next step. And it could be in a room. It could be in your career. It could be in your department, on your project. Like, my challenge to you is, if you just keep it in your head and you just think about it and all the things that could, should, would happen, that it's just going to stay in your head. Like, you don't know where it could go and what it can do. And I interact with people every day that are doing amazing things and that have great ideas. And they just, like, again, this is my default. Just make it exist. You can make it better later. Like, if it's messy, it's ugly. Like, that's, I live by that mantra. Like, just make it exist. Get it out of your head. And it could be with styrofoam, and it can be with toothpicks, and it can be with, like, again, crayons and construction paper. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Get it out of your head and just make it exist. And it can be messy and whatever, but most amazing things start that way anyway.
Yes, and yes. I'm gonna cheat and use the reflection question here.
Okay.
And, like, for real, if nothing changes in how you show up, right? Like, if you continue to stay silent, wait to be invited, and and keep bobbleheading and echoing and all of that, you continue showing up that way, what's that going to cost you 6 months from now? And I'm going to tell you, if your answer is nothing, that's a signal that you got a problem. Mm-hmm. And maybe another way to say this, you're going to continue being ignored until you change the way you show up. Like, back to the whole point, or the title of the conversation is you're not being ignored. You're just not saying anything. You're just not saying anything of consequence. You're not adding your inside your contribution. I don't want to hear what Simon Sinek said. I don't want to hear what Brene Brown said. I want to know what the hell you think. I want to feel your perspective, your insight. I'm probably not going to agree with it. But if you're going to come at me, well, Simon Sinek says, I'm like, okay, but call him please so he could take your spot. Like, what the hell are you here for to echo somebody else's crap? So I know it's a little bit harsh, but I really want to help people understand that you have tremendous value. Your life experience is extremely valuable. And if you continue to like suppress it and hide it for stability, safety, and comfort, you are failing to serve to the degree that you can. I know it's kind of serious, but that's exactly how I feel about it, Jennifer.
I agree.
All right. So it's time for the are we going to do the dance today, or we're going to
practicing your 80s dances?
What's that?
Have you been
The
practicing your 80s dances?
Yes, the RoboCop, baby. Oh no, was that Milli Vanilli? I don't remember.
Oh, gosh.